I also want to touch on Dudley and what he remembers anyway, because it doesn't seem like he actually remembers anything from the Dementor attack. I almost said the Dumbledore attack, the Dementor attack to like the front door of his house, because he talks about the feeling of the Dementors, but then he's also talking about Harry using his wand. But just before that, at the playground, is when Harry pulls his wand out and like shows it to him. So I wonder, like, whenever they're inside the house and he's describing to the Dursleys about what happened, and he says that Harry pulled his wand out or he used his wand. I wonder if I don't think he even knows about the Patronus. I think that he knows about what happened at the playground, the Dementor attack, and then he kind of pieced it together that Harry saved him to get back to the house. But I wonder how much of that he actually remembers too.
Now, I know this is a movieism, so remind me of how it happens in the book, but don't the Dementors, like, very nearly get Dudley? Like, they are, quote unquote, attacking him, right? Don't they get
I think
to him?
it was pretty significant from what I recall. It was a pretty, like not great situation. Like, he was genuinely in quite, I think, unless it's a movieism, he was in quite a bit of danger in terms of, like, actually being a close call.
I got it here.
Okay.
Says Dudley was curled on the ground, arm clamped over his face. A second Dementor was crouching low over him, gripping his wrists in its slimy hands, prizing them slowly, almost lovingly apart, lowering its hooded head toward Dudley's face as though about to kiss him.
What wait, was it? What is the peace sign? What is that?
Kat is the only person who can do this.
It's because I was doing the thumbs up.
Yeah, but no one else can do it. Like, we tried to do it.
No,
like, nobody else can do it.
You need a Mac. There we go.
Anyway.
The best part was that happened whenever I said almost lovingly apart.
See, listeners, if you're not watching the video of this episode, you have no idea what we're talking about. Anyway, total tangent. Perfect. That as soon as you started saying that, I remembered the prying. I remembered the prying apart and the slimy hands. Blech, gross. So yeah, he totally has short-term memory loss.
Yes.
Like, totally. 100%. The Dementors were sucking.
It was
whatever.
It was
the
not
pre-soul.
It was not an atmospheric effect. It was a physiological.
It was definitely a combination. Either the Dementors, obviously, we know that can cause issues regarding people's minds as it is. But then, memory especially. But couple that with, like, also being in such a traumatic situation for him, especially, like I said, given how coddled he is. This is probably like his brain probably like completely shut down to avoid having to confront this whatsoever. So it makes sense, like, it took him time to like piece together what truly happened, because he probably had to like take time to even recall the things that he like kind of shut down for, and that's when he starts to realize like Harry isn't the bad guy in the situation, but like he definitely like was 100%, like that's why he's like so far gone, so to speak, like to the entirety of the rest of this chapter, because like he's like fully in like a dissociative like fight or flight state at the moment, because he was like that's also like the prying his arms apart, like that's scary. Like anything like getting on you and prying your arms away from your face like that's frightening. I would be traumatized too. Like, I can't blame him for being.
Yeah, you can't even see it.
Like,
right, and you can't see it.
I forgot about that. He can't even see it. That's horrifying. Can you just imagine like covering, like, you're supposed to like gripping your arms like that? Scary. Like, he's fully justified in being as traumatized as he is, because that is horrendous. Horrendous.
That's the freaking creepiest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Okay?
I'm not. Man.
Okay. Let's we're still on Mrs. Fig, but I wrote we'll lighten it up a little bit here. She says a couple of things in the conversation when she's walking back with Harry, which I immediately was like, these are wizarding idioms, because they're really close to British, or I guess just regular, quote unquote, regular idioms. She says, well, it's no good crying over spilled potions, I suppose, but the cat's among the pixies now. And of course I had heard the first one, it's no use crying over spilled milk. Did I leave one out? Might as well be hanged for a dragon as an egg.
I don't know if that counts as one. I just thought that it sounded like.
Does it? But okay. So no use crying over spilled milk. Like, you just have to forget about it and move on. You can't change the past, blah, blah, blah. And I had never heard of, but the cat's among the pixies now, which is the non-wizarding version is pigeons now. So the cat's among the pigeons now, which means that there was like a disturbance caused by an undesirable person from the perspective of a group. So I'm assuming the undesirable person here.
See,
is
I
the
thought she was saying
maybe
the
it's
cat was dead.
Mundungus.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I thought it was like the
thought
cat's
cat was
among the
dead.
angels. That's why I was like, I'm like, that's not that lighthearted. That's kind of sad.
No.
Now that makes more
Is that a
sense now.
bird?
Okay,
Mhm.
I was like, that's what I thought it
Oh,
meant.
okay. Yeah. Might as well be hanged for a dragon as an egg.
Yep. So that is, if they're already going to be in trouble, if you're in trouble for this small offense of using the Patronus charm, you might as well go ahead and use whatever magic you got to stay alive.
Did Mrs. Fig say that?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
In that same in that same section?
Yeah, whenever they're going back to the house, Harry drops his wand, like puts it down, and she goes, "Get your wand up, boy." Yeah, might as well be hanged for a dragon as an egg.
So does that match up with a non-wizarding idiom that you're aware
I think there's some variation of that or something.
Yeah,
I don't know the exact one, but it sounds vaguely familiar. Like I've heard something akin to that.
He's Josh is Googling, but if he doesn't find it,
yeah,
the
I'm sure
listeners
someone will know. I've heard a variation.
It's yeah. I looked it up earlier, but I couldn't remember exactly what it was. It's might as well be hanged for a sheep as a lamb, because the sheep is bigger than a lamb. A lamb, if you're hungry, you're gonna steal a lamb. You might as well go ahead and steal a sheep, because if you get caught, you're getting hanged anyway.
Damn. That's dark.
I mean,
okay. I mean, she's right though.
I mean, I guess it's more referenceable back then because
that is like my number one toxic trait in life. Might as well.
Yeah, I mean, like I guess it's more referenceable back then. It sounds a lot darker now because nowadays, like back then, like stealing was stealing. It didn't matter if you stole a loaf of bread or a whole animal; like you'd be tried just the same. Like nowadays, it's like okay, that's really dark sounding, but like it made a lot more sense in the context of it.
But she's basically like YOLO.
I mean, she's got a point though. It's all a moot point if you die anyway. Like, what's the difference? If you're gonna die, like you might as well not die. Like, I guess she's a point. Like,
well, I think the way to make it more Wizarding World would be to say, might as well go to Azkaban for a dragon as an egg. You know, because like that's
I mean, I'm sure they had execution at one point too. They probably just adapted like the rest of us.
Just ask Buckbeak.
I mean, that's true, but that's an animal. Like, it's still kind of different. But like, I'm sure there was just as that's kind of outdated because no one executes anyone now. It's outdated for them too. I'm sure that at one point in time they probably did execute people, and maybe that's where there's a crossover between the witch trials. Who knows? Like, you know.
Well, I mean, the British used hanging a lot.
Like it makes sense historically.
Okay. I was supposed to keep us out of the dark place.
Let's talk about magical government.
Let's go. Let's stay back to the light place. Back to the light. Back to the light.
All right, I'll bring us back to the light. What's up with these squibs and their cats? We got Filch and Mrs. Norris. That Mrs. Norris just runs all over that castle, getting kids in trouble, and we got Mrs. Fig over here. Also, opposite gendered squib and cat. Anyway, and we got Mrs. Fig with Mr. Tibbles, that apparently is out spying on Harry when Mundungus bells. Because she says, I put Mr. Tibbles on the case. It sounds like the cat was literally out spying after she was like, well, Mundungus left, so what do I do? What is the connection between squibs and magical cats?
I'm not sure, but I'm so glad you pointed that out, because whenever I heard that, because I listened to the audiobooks, when she said, like, the cat was on the case, my brain was like, I'm sorry, what? Like, what you mean? Like your cat can spy and report back? Like, what? So I don't know. I ain't got the answers, but I also was very, very curious about that. But I think it's really cool that you made the connection about the gender switch with the cats. That's interesting as well.
Well, I'm thinking this out loud now. So, at the Magical Menagerie, Hermione gets Crookshanks there. That cat obviously is of higher intelligence, has some type of properties in it that make it a wizard cat. I don't know.
He's part Kneazle.
I don't know what that means.
Like the animal.
Oh, so a Kneazle is a...
It looks like
I don't have my book in front of me.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, but it's a type of magic. It's a type of magical cat that has I'm butchering this.
Yeah,
above average intelligence and sentience or whatever.
Well, that kind of screws up what I was going to say. But I'm going to say it anyway.
Say it anyway.
We're a podcast, and we get paid to talk. I wonder, because squibs can still go to Diagon Alley. These cats are being purchased. They're taken from the Magical Menagerie. I just wonder if squibs wanting to feel a part of the world or having something that's more helpful then a Muggle cat goes to Diagon Alley and gets a magic cat to help them out in things like this. That way they could have a help even though they can't do magic.
I like that. Almost like a
I
animal.
have long believed that I fully 100% subscribe to the theory that Mrs. Norris was like a transfiguration animagus thing gone wrong, and she used to be a person, and they had this amazing relationship, and then all of a sudden she's just like stuck as a cat. I fully believe that is a thing. You will not ever convince me that Mrs. Norris was not once a human woman.
I got another timeline. Mrs. Norris.
That's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking.
And they got into a fight, and they were going to get divorced, and that's where the transfiguration went wrong. They both tried to turn each other into cats.
See, I can subscribe to that, but if there was a third sentient cat like this, then I'd have to be like, maybe it isn't that, because how many people are accidentally transfiguring themselves into cats and not turning back? Because that's already 3 cases now in which that happens. It's becoming a little because
maybe they
suspicious.
Divorced over Crookshanks. Maybe they don't care. Maybe that's the cat. We can take this as far as we need to, okay? But we should probably not. Listeners,
that's incredible.
I like you just Josh just started seizing a little bit from how much that tickled him.
Crookshanks got out of there. He was like, you know what? I'm out.
Not worth it.
Got picked up by her.
Milk's not worth a squeeze.
Wow.
So many theories.